So that sort of leads right into the question I would ask normally at this point, which is, like, what you talked a lot about your theme. There it is. What about the media? Like, what's your choice media to use? And oil and linen, I suppose, but anything else or any other? What can you say about how the actual work, the way you work?
Yeah, I started with even before I went to college that was my first exposure to formal training. Prior to then, I'd drawn and painted, and I think acrylics were probably what I was using in the early stages, just because of the easy cleanup with water and no odor.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be in my bedroom and my mom wouldn't come bang on the door and what's that smell? The acrylics were the simple solution early, but I knew early on that I wanted to be able to work the painting for an extended period of time, sort of sculpt it until I got it right. I tend to work fairly slowly. I'm not like a quick draw artist, so to speak. So as I entered college, oils were the medium that were used, and the first couple of studies, the first time I painted in oil, I realized this is it, because I could move, manipulate, wipe off my mistakes. I could spend as much time on getting the paint to move and react as I wanted it to achieve the result that I was after, that I felt that I wanted to achieve. And so I knew that it's an incredibly complex medium, and unlike maybe many artists who just feel the need to explore every medium out there just to do it all, I saw an abyss with oil because of all the possibilities of becoming a specialist in one medium. The possibilities were endless, and I also never really felt that I was at a point where I was ready to leave one medium and go to another, because I haven't mastered it yet. And I still haven't.
Sure.
We may never, and I think one can spend lifetimes, working on mastering one medium. So it was just a medium that felt right to me, and I've never left it. The only other medium I was drawn to, that's a nice pun, segue there,
sure,
was pencil. And I did a lot of pencil drawing and felt very comfortable. It was a natural medium for me. And that did develop into exploration into another medium, which was metal point. And over the last 4 or 5 years, I've really connected with that medium. It's just it goes back to the Renaissance, and even before that period, before there was graphite. Yeah. And it's a fabulous medium that produces almost ethereal sort of look on the paper. So
I'm not familiar with metal point at all. Maybe I should be, but I'm not. This sounds very interesting.
It's a fabulous medium, and it's fairly non-forgiving. You can't make erasures like you can with pencil.
Yeah.
But you prepare the paper much like you do a canvas. So in that regard, it feels very much like painting at that point. But you draw with either pure silver, or you can actually use 24 karat gold, which I use. I use a combination of silver and gold.
Wow.
And it's a slow process where you're gradually making marks and using cross-hatching and sort of weaving the lines together. Mm-hmm. But it's very delicate, and you can't press down. So everything has to be done very gently and built up, which again sort of mimics my approach to oil painting, which I sort of tiptoe into each painting and
sure.
never really kind of like boldly thrust myself into it. I sort of let it kind of breathe onto the canvas and come about that way.
Well, that calm, way of elucidating on the surface just exactly what you want to have finally there certainly does come across and it's very restful to look at. Finally, I find it's very as exciting as it is many times in your painting. It's also extremely profound. Is the word I use. It's like
Well,
really
one of the things I do try to represent is the nature of the sea, and it's funny how that really parallels the nature of life in general, because you go down to the ocean every day, or even at various times during the day, and it's so changeable. I mean, it's different every time you go down, and of course you have the obvious differences where you have weather, and you'll have a beautiful day, and then you'll have, say, a hurricane, and that is, I mean, to me that's life. That's just the way life is, and so I try to present it both ways. I mean, there's certainly some storm scenes along with the pleasant scenes, and I find both equally stimulating.
wow.
And honest. I mean, I think that being honest to the subject.
Sure, and so and what comes up from the depth sometimes is totally amazing, enthralling. They're mysterious, and then they produce. Suddenly, something will come up from down there. It's unlike the land where it's all rock.
Oh, exactly. Right. Yeah, we walk the beach all the time, and we're constantly looking.
Yes.
Right off where our beach is, just about a mile offshore, is where Blackbeard's flagship.
Yes,
From.
I was thinking of that. Yeah.
And we're the Queen Anne's Revenge, and I mean, we're constantly finding little pieces of metal, and found one little, what they call it a concretion, where something's been underwater for years and years and years, and it develops this marine growth around it, and actually forms a sort of a crusty layer. And we found what looks like a sewing needle, which maybe could have been a sailmaker's needle, and it still had some silk attached to it. So,
wonderful. Yeah.
Of course, you start thinking, that came off the Queen Anne's Revenge.
The history of
it's probably part of a golf club thrown overboard 20 years ago, but still, you're right. I mean, that kind of stuff washes up, and it's almost like the ocean is spitting it back out.
You get stories every time you walk along the seashore. You hear you run into different stories. Eh?